Big news coming out of Mexico. There's a report that the U.S. Soccer Federation and Federación Mexicana de Futbol have an agreement on dual nationals. This agreement would force a player to sign a document renouncing to their eligibility to the other national team. This was reported by Gibran Araige from TUDN. It all started with Alex Sendejas. We'll touch on that a bit later, but let's stick to this because when we saw this report, this seems like something that's just not right. So if this is true, are you cool with it?
Okay, so I don't think anybody would be cool with that. I'm sure we're going to go down a rabbit hole of legality here, but I reached out to U.S. Soccer, who denied this report. It's not accurate, according to them. So at least on the U.S. soccer side, USSF side, this is not something that they will do. Mm-hmm. That doesn't mean that it's not something that FMF is implementing. That remains to be seen. If you're an FMF, federativo, directivo, executive, whatever you want to say.
That's different. That's something else.
You've got to clear that up for your people, for your fan base, for your players. I don't see what you gain out of this. I don't see what's going on here. I mean, you're a lawyer by trade. That was your first. You could have somebody sign it, but how do you enforce it? I mean, that's pretty much your argument here, right?
Yeah.
It's getting into a rabbit hole. I don't even know where to go with this, but to say that U.S. Soccer has denied these claims.
Of course, I'm not cool with it. It's borderline illegal, by the way, to force a player to sign that kind of a document, number one. Number two, I would understand if the Mexican Soccer Federation does something like that. I wouldn't be surprised at all. I would be very surprised if U.S. Soccer actually would agree to something like this, because it just takes one player to raise their hand and go to FIFA to try and expose this kind of shady practices that I also agree. I don't know what's the end game where you make a player sign a document like this. I reached out to an agent of a player that is involved in this kind of conversations, and he also denied that this exists. This agreement between U.S. Soccer Federation and the Mexican Soccer Federation, he denied that this agreement exists. Again, this is a report that was made public today by Gibran Araige, a very well-respected journalist with TUDN. But in the end, right, this is compromising a lot of players and their futures once they make a choice. Who do they want to represent at the international level?
Of course it is. I mean, I don't think there's a question about that. It's just especially why murky the waters in an already very unclear situation for young players of who they are, where they want to be, what their future has in store. I just don't see what the Mexican Federation wants to get out of this, if that's the case.
So this agent also confirmed that Alejandro Sendejas was asked by the Mexican Soccer Federation to sign that document.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN+.